Interest rates are up and the number of sales transactions in the Atlanta area has went down. Should we be concerned about the Atlanta real estate market? And here's the magical question everyone's asking me: when are prices going to come down here in Atlanta? I want to get after all of that here in your fall Atlanta real estate market report. So stay tuned. We're going to talk all about that coming up next. Hey guys, my name is Molly and welcome to my channel where I talk all things about living here in the Atlanta area. If you've got questions, reach out to me, shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email, or you can always put a comment down below. I do check those and love hearing from you guys. Okay, let's jump into what's been happening this fall here in the Atlanta real estate market. And kind of like in my summer update, it's, a story of we're kind of back into that seasonality of real estate. In the springtime, that's kind of when we reach our peak where there's a lot of transactions happening, the prices peak, and then we kind of have a slowdown in the summer and into the fall. There's a slight little increase in activity and then it kind of slows down. I mean, a lot of people are enjoying the holidays, they are settled in for the year, and we're not seeing as many transactions. That's what's happening this year, but I will say the difference between 2023 and the last several years is that we are at a much lower level. So I don't even want to talk about 2021, 2022, because those were just kind of crazy, wild west years. Interest rates were so low and people were going bonkers about overbidding on homes. But let's jump back to 2019, where that was pretty much a normal kind of typical year in real estate. So if you compare like the number of listings, from September, which are the most recent numbers I have for 2023, back to 2019, you're going to see that, yes, both months, the number of, new listings hitting the market is coming down from the summer months, but the number of new listings, in 2023 was only 6,400 roughly, versus in 2019, it was over 8,800. So, we're definitely seeing a lot less homes hitting the market than we did in prior years. The main reason for this definitely is a lot to do with the interest rate. Now, if you haven't been watching the news at all, the interest rates have been on a roller coaster of a ride this whole year. We started kind of in the low sixes, mid sixes for the first half of this year, and now we are experiencing interest rates in that 7.5% range, almost up to 8% here in the middle of October. So with these higher interest rates, it's definitely putting a pause on both buyers and sellers. Now, there's a lot of sellers that have locked in these low interest rates, and unless they need to move, maybe there was a divorce or there was a death, or maybe they had, twins and they need a bigger home, unless they need to move, it's really hard for them to convince themselves to move, trade a 3% interest rate for a 7.5% interest rate. I totally get that. Now, on the buyer side, it's just painful, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. With the higher the interest rate goes, your purchasing power is less. And the first-time buyer, they don't have usually a lot of extra equity built up they can apply towards a down payment. So it's really killing these first-time buyers that want to enter the market. They just can't quite afford to. But let me put up some charts just to show you what's happening right this fall. The number of new listings has dropped, year over year and month over month. The total number of homes now sitting on the market is actually increasing, and the month supply of inventory, basically, remember, month supply is, how long would it take to sell all the homes that are currently sitting on the market. A normal balanced market, they say, is 6 months. We haven't hit 6 months of supply since 2011 here in Atlanta, so don't expect that anytime soon. The good news is we are seeing that the month supply is slowly creeping up, but it's nowhere near a normal market. Even if we wanted to say, 4 months of supply, which that would be a pretty good, healthy market here in the Atlanta area. For the metro Atlanta area, the last time we hit 4 months was July of 2015. So you can see that for a long time here in the Atlanta area, we have been short on supply, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Now, despite the supply overall being at lower levels than we've ever seen, we're starting to see a little bit more supply on the market, and it is taking a little bit longer to sell. But that's pretty seasonal and normal this time of year, so I'm not really that concerned about it. Days on market right now are at 14 days, which year over year that's flat, but if you look month over month, it has increased just a little bit. So buyers have a little bit more time to shop around. Another great thing right now for buyers is that you can negotiate a little bit more with sellers. They're willing to negotiate more because they want to get their homes sold. People aren't listing their homes just for fun. They want to get it sold here before the end of the year, especially if you're looking into new construction. Those builders want to get that inventory off their books for the end of the year. So if you're looking at new construction, builders might be willing to either reduce prices or throw in a lot of incentives at you to get you to buy their new construction home. So this is a great time if you are a buyer, despite high interest rates. If you can afford it and you find something you like, this is a great time where you can have a little bit more negotiating power versus if you wait and go into the next year, even though if interest rates stay high into the spring, which is usually the peak time, there's still a lot of people moving to Atlanta or people that need to change for schools or whatever, and there's still going to be a lot of buyer activity despite higher interest rates. People need homes. So that part is not going to change. Maybe the number of transactions is going to be a little bit less than we've seen in prior years if interest rates remain high, but that competition here in the Atlanta area is still going to be there. So if you can buy now, this is a great time to do that. Okay, but here's the magical question everyone is asking me, every new buyer that I talk to, you're like, hey Molly, when are the prices going to come down? Because interest rates are high, you would think that sales prices would come down because that's kind of, they don't usually go hand in hand, they work in opposite directions. Interestingly, that is not happening here in the Atlanta area and for a lot of the US, basically because of the inventory problem. Now, if you look at the median sales price for the metro Atlanta area, now the prices did soften a little bit from August going into September from 425,000 down to 410,000, but year over year, we're still up 2.5%. So you can see that, prices are still holding strong, and prices do soften a little bit in the fall and the winter months, and that is completely normal. But I do think once we get into that spring market again, we're going to see another new peak on the home prices. And a lot of this has to do with just simply not enough supply in our market. So even with the interest rates high, there's still a lot of buyers out there looking, and with limited inventory, it is still causing buyers to run into the multiple offer situation. Not quite as crazy as we saw in past years, but it's still happening. And so, yeah, until we get more supply somehow magically, we're going to see prices still holding strong. So my best advice is going to this fall and winter market. If you are ready to buy and you find something you like, this is a great time to be buying because you can usually negotiate a little bit more with the seller than you would if you waited until the spring. And we have no idea what the rates are going to look like in the spring. So, if you're ready and willing and able, then yeah, go for it. Now, if you're waiting for rates to drop, I just don't see that that's going to happen anytime soon. They've said that they predict that the Fed is going to raise the interest rate again here one more time right before Christmas. So they are not being nice Santa Clauses. They are being Grinches. Unfortunately, they don't care about the housing industry right now. They are just working on controlling inflation. I would not hold out for interest rates to fall down anytime soon. Now, I don't know when interest rates are going to come down. They will come down eventually, but when that's going to happen, whether that's next year or in 2 years, who knows? But what I would say is don't try to time the market. That is like playing a roulette wheel. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. The best thing to do is buy a home when you are ready. And if you are ready to buy a home, reach out to me. Let's have a discussion. Let's talk about where some good areas would be for you to live here in the Atlanta area. Would love hearing from you. Shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email. Can't wait to hear from you. Okay, guys, that is it for my fall market update report here in the Atlanta area. Hope this was helpful for you. If you see me out in the wild, make sure you say hello. And until next time, you guys, I'll see you around the neighborhood.